Welcome to another episode of CrafterCast, where we focus on specific topics related to modern content management for digital experience applications. Today, we're talking about search engine optimization, or SEO for short, and how CrafterCMS supports it. My name is Mike Vertel, and with me today here is Russ Danner. So Russ, I think the starting point for SEO is always going to be about the content, right? It's relevant keywords, it's keeping your content fresh, frequent publishing, garnering backlinks to your content from authoritative sites. And then there's CMS related capabilities that help with SEO. That's what we're going to talk about here today is the CMS specific capabilities that will enhance your search engine optimization and how CrafterCMS in particular supports that. So let's go through the list. Let's start with structured markup, which is important. How does Crafter support that?
Well, Crafter enables developers to create and manage any structured markup they desire. There's really no constraints on your content model or the templates that you create. And that goes for any language, any platform that you might be building those templates in. We also have some blueprints or out-of-the-box solutions that come with structured markup already that you can use as a model and that you can extend and override.
Great. And then we get to custom URLs or SEO-friendly readable URLs. How does Crafter support it?
Crafter gives authors complete control over the URLs. Content types for site pages can be defined to include a URL, and the authors can put anything in there that they like. We support internationalization as well.
Great. And then we can get to the topic of metadata associated with pages on a site, right? So custom meta tags like your titles, meta descriptions, robot meta tags, social sharing optimization. So how does your content look on Twitter, on Facebook, and other channels? Let's talk about that.
Right. So that really goes back to that idea of content modeling. Again, we as an industry keep growing and changing as needs change, as new social networks and so on become available. But Crafter allows you to define any metadata that you like, and that could include things like titles and meta descriptions and meta tags and open graph tags and so on. So each content type can define its own metadata, and that can be used to then populate that information.
And does that include support for canonical tags?
It does. We can generate canonical tags that point to any number of variants that you have for your content.
And what about management of common SEO tags or metadata that you want to have across sections or even the entire site?
Well, CrafterCMS supports templating and content inheritance to help you manage common SEO tags and social markup. So you centralize the management of that in common objects that can then be inherited into other pages and components.
What about sitemaps?
Crafter supports generation of search engine sitemaps, so sitemap.xml, it's automatic, and we can also automatically generate user sitemaps if that's something that you'd like to do on your particular site.
Yeah, and then sites are constantly in flux, right? So what about 301 redirects?
Yeah, there's two big areas for that. The first is sort of bulk rewrites and redirects. And so we have basically a rewrite engine that uses regexes and other pattern matching strategies allow you to completely control that. So if you do a redesign or you're bringing in a lot of other content from somewhere else, you can manage that in bulk. We also give authors the ability to individually control particular URLs for things like vanity URL use cases and so on.
Yeah. So we know performance is another general area that affects SEO. And one approach to that for some parts of your content or your site would be CDNs and caching. So how does Crafter support those approaches?
Yeah, there's two main points of integration. So the first is that we allow you to manage the caching headers that we put out of the server so that you can control how long things are cached, both at the CDN and at the browser and so on. And then the second part of that is the deep integration with things like cache clearing on the CDN. So most CDNs, the way that they work is they reverse proxy, and it's real simple integration. You pull an image from a URL and they simply cache it. but sometimes you want to be able to invoke a clear. And so from Crafter's deployment capabilities, we can actually invoke that clear cache operation for you.
Great. And another thing that affects performance is high resolution images. How do we handle optimization of image delivery?
Yeah, that's a big topic because authors are not technical. So trying to get images in the right size and so on first usually requires some kind of software to do that. And also it's time consuming. So what we can do with Crafter is we have an image or asset processing pipeline. It goes beyond images to things like videos as well. But we have this asset processing pipeline so that as you upload assets, we can transform them into smaller resolutions and so on for different types of platforms, be it mobile or a smartwatch or a desktop or what have you.
There you go. And you just mentioned it, right? Mobile devices. Everyone's browsing websites with their mobile devices these days. So how about mobile friendliness?
Yeah, Crafter allows you to build with any front-end framework you like, whether that's React, Angular, Vue, Bootstrap, FreeMarker, any platform you like. So you have complete control over the markup and the design and so on. So mobile friendliness is something that is native to almost every single Crafter digital experience out there.
And I think you can throw in React Native and Flutter and other frameworks that are mobile specific, right?
Absolutely.
So we know Google dominates this space. It's the dominant search engine. They've got the tools. So talk about Crafter's integration with Google's tools and analytics.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have got a lot of integration there. We've got out of the box support for markup, for that structured markup that Google's looking for that helps you become that zero-click style search result. We've got that Google sitemap generation that you can do automatically. We've got integration with Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager and other aspects of the tool set there.
Right. So if you're using modern JavaScript frameworks, client-side rendered applications are not going to be very SEO friendly, right? Google has a problem crawling those unless you take a bunch of other precautions. So talk about server-side rendering and the importance of that for SEO and how Crafter supports SSR.
Yeah, so with respect to frameworks like React, Vue, Angular, and so on, we've got integration with Node.js platforms to do the server-side rendering. So we work out of the box with Next and Nuxt and so on. Crafter also will automatically server-side render in FreeMarker or FTL.
Excellent. So let's talk about multilingual support. There's global sites with multiple languages, all that need to be search engine friendly, search engine optimized in their local languages. So how does Crafter support multilingual content?
Yeah, so first there's the whole translation, internationalization, and localization feature set. So we're able to support that authoring process, and we have internationalized content and URLs, which is another big component. A lot of organizations like their URLs also to be internationalized. And that leads you to having the same content in under different URLs. So you've got to tell the search engine, hey, these are the same kinds of content objects. And this is very similar to the canonical tag. There's a tag called an hreflang tag, and Crafter can automatically generate the mappings so that all of the different internationalized URLs are mapped together as a single set of content.
Great. And telling search engines what to index, what not to index, that's controlled by a robots file. So talk a little bit about how Crafter supports that.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Crafter comes with out-of-the-box support for editing your robot.txt file. So any editor with the right permissions can go in there and really control where the search engine should be able to index and where it shouldn't.
Great. And then final topic is SEO analysis and analytics tools and the integrations with those. How does Crafter support the analysis of SEO during the content authoring and publishing process?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's a couple pieces of it. Some tools are interested in the markup as a whole. Some tools are just interested in the copy itself and the images. And Crafter, we're able to capture the content as presentationless content, and we can also render it. So we can provide both forms of that content to these tools. And most of these tools are integrations in our marketplace, things like Yoast SEO and so on.
Great. Well, there you have it, folks. A list of very important SEO topics, especially those that your CMS should be supporting, and how CrafterCMS in particular supports SEO. Crafter runs some of the largest websites on the planet that are search engine optimized, and you can learn from our experience, and you heard it right here from the man himself, Russ Danner, our VP of products, on how Crafter supports your SEO efforts. So let's put a wrap on this episode. Thanks everybody for watching. If you found this useful, hit the like button and share it with your friends and colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and so you don't miss any future episodes. And feel free to comment below on any topics you'd love to hear us talk about, or hit us up over at CrafterCMS.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day.